evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Today we are going over the Harpie deck profile. The only reason why I'm giving you guys a side deck is because, like I said, I played it in the tournament. If you guys would like to know the details of the tournament, it is on Facebook. I did play 2 Shadow players, and a Tellarknight player and some other players. But hey, that's what it is. But let's get down to the deck profile. There's going to be 3 copies of Channeler, Erica Schroeder Channelers, 3 copies of Queen, 3 copies of Harpie Harpist, 1 Cyber Harpie Lady, 2 copies of Harpie Lady number 1, 2 copies of Harpie Dancer, and to sum it up, 3 copies of Max C. That is 17 monsters for spells, 3 Harpie's Hunting Ground, 3 Hysteric Sign, 1 Egotist. That's going to sum it up for the spells. Now for traps, we're going to run 3 copies of Hysteric Party, 3 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance, 3 copies of Breakthrough Skill, 2 copies of Magical Hats, 2 Mirror Force, 2 Icarus, and 1 Solemn Warning. The monster build is very, very easy. I guess we could start with the Cyber Harpie Lady number 1 ratio. During the tournament, I was actually running 2 Cyber Harpie Ladies because I did not have another Harpie Lady 1, and it really hurt me. I can't even really explain how bad it hurt me. There were quite a few times where I could have OTK'd had I had Harpie Lady number 1 and double Gaga Cowboy in my deck. Had I not been playing Harpie's Pet Dragon, I would have done a lot better. I still did really well, but it was just the fact that the deck would have run so much smoother without Harpie's Pet Dragon and with an additional Harpie Lady 1. Now I want to fortify that by adding Harpie Lady 1s. The more you get on the field, the more attack advantage you have. The bigger chance of, OTKing your opponent. The only reason why I actually do run Cyber Harpie Lady is because it is an out to Denko Sekka. I came kind of prepared for Denko Sekka, being able to just run over it in most cases. If not, I'll find some other way to get over that card because, like, as you can see, this deck is very back row heavy. It probably will be a pain. Harpie Harpist is like the best card in the deck right now. To be honest with you guys, it is so amazing. Even if it does really only searches your channelers, it searches your channelers. It searches your dancers and your Harpie Lady ones as well, but really searching your channeler is probably like the best thing that the card can bring to the table. It has so much consistency and so much synergy. I don't run Upstart Goblins, but I do run Max C. A lot of decks that this deck doesn't have such a great matchup with special summons a crap ton. That's probably one of the bigger ways to get past the Harpies. Maxi actually not only allows me to generate a lot of cards back into my hand, I actually won a couple games just because the opponent went off on Maxi and I had, ways to come back. It's a very big combo pace deck, and so Maxi is just really there to get you your key pieces. Even if you are just pitching it for 1, hey, you're getting 1 card closer. I don't like Upstart Goblin, or I'm sorry, I don't like Reckless Greed just because it does skip your draw phase. Granted, if you do get certain pieces, you really won't need your draw phase, but I don't want to rely on just getting certain pieces because this deck already relies on certain pieces as well. No need for Mystical Space Typhoons. Harpie Hunting Ground just pretty much solved that job. Actually, during the tournament, I didn't even side Mystical Space Typhoons, but I have them to sideboard for a couple of other tricks. Hysteric Signs are God. Elegant Egotist, you only need 1 because, well, Hysteric Sign searches it out. And Elegant Egotist is a lot more underrated than a lot of people think. You would normally summon Harpie Harpist and then you Elegant Egotist a monster to your field. It's just really good. 3 Hysteric Party because I want to see that card as fast as possible. It is your OTK card. More often than not, if you activate Hysteric Party, it's just you win. And if you do activate Hysteric Party and you're discarding Harpie Harpist, you win even more. The card is really dangerous in this deck. I wanted to go with the Anti-Spell Fragrance build because a lot of people don't play traps. So this deck isn't that great against decks that don't play traps. Well, how do you force them to play traps? Anti-Spell Fragrance. Forcing them to set their spell cards becomes complete bait for Harpie's Hunting Ground, and then you really just get to completely annihilate Necros players because they have to set all the ritual spell cards and your Harpies will take care of all that. Against Cleafort or any Pendulum deck, they can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Anti-Spell Fragrance works so well with this deck and the strategy just because you have no spell cards that you really need that need to be activated beforehand. And if you could just activate Harpie's Hunting Ground beforehand and just start wrecking their turn. Breakthrough Skills are obvious. It actually saved me a lot against Shadows and Denko Sekka, so that card does exist. Magical Hats to 2. There was a point where I wasn't playing any, and then there was a point where I was only playing 1. Magical Hats is actually the same theory as Max C. Whereas if my opponent would attack, I would be able to gain so much advantage just by magical hatting Hysteric Signs to the field. Worst case scenario, if I can only magical hat and my my one copy of Hysteric Sign, I can get Elegant Egotist or Breakthrough Skill, since it doesn't matter to put these cards in your graveyard. Breakthrough Skill is actually beneficial in a way, and Elegant Egotist is recyclable through Hysteric Sign, so those are all good. Also, you can put Dead Spell Fragrances to your graveyard if you know your opponent doesn't run too many spells like in the Satellar matchup, which is a matchup that you should not be afraid of whatsoever. 2 Mirror Force are obvious. I was maxing out 3 copies of Icarus Attack until I realized that this build doesn't have a lot of monsters that I really want to Icarus Attack. More often than not, you Icarus Attack at a pivotal point where your monster's already going to die or whatever, you Icarus Attack and you get some advantage off of that. And then Solemn Warning is for Denko Sekka because, you know, Denko Sekka, like I said, is a card. That's going to sum up the whole deck at about 40. Let's get to the extra deck. Alright guys, so the extra deck is, I mean, it's so simple. I don't really think it's really anything else to it. 2 Lightning Chidori, these are mandatory if you ask me. You'll play them like the living daylights out of them. As well as 2 Gaga Cowboy. The OTK, if if your opponent doesn't get over your initial Harpie push, you can really make an OTK and just go balls deep, and then your opponent really has no response to it. There's actually been times where my opponent was at exactly 1600 light points, because I had a Hysteric Party on the field and I just make double Gaga Cowboy and go for game. Just a really good card. Its offensive weapon isn't that bad either. Dweller, Karen Gorgon, MVP of the game. MVP when you draw the right cards. Just the monster you want to go to, period, and I'll show you the combo. 1 Silent Honor Arc, Dark Rebellion. I actually was going to run 2 Castells, but I mean, I've never really needed 2 Castells, so then there's that. Exciting, Ice Beast, Daigusto Emerald. I've actually went to that card quite a few times because, I put so many Harpie cards in the graveyard. Heartland Draco, Ragnar Zero, and I guess this is Diamond Direwolf, but I mean, you guys could really take it off for anything. I was actually thinking about taking it off for Diamond King Crab for Cleaford Towers. Seeing that Cleafords did get it, they're going to see a little more play. But hey, it is what it is. I feel like this extra deck is really solid. Not really much I would trade into. When I was playing the tournament, the cards that I went to the most is Lightning Chidori's, Karen Gorgon, Heartland Draco won me a game. I went to that once, but it was pretty clutch. And then I went to Sky Blaster once. All the others I really haven't went to. I really didn't need. There was a time where I probably should have made Abyss Dweller, but I didn't have any resources other than Abyss Dweller to make. So, I mean, it was that. There was a times where I could have made Ice Beast Zero Phone, but it isn't all as great as it used to be. It's a great card, but it isn't as great as it used to be. So that's pretty much going to sum up the extra deck. If I'm under 15, I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter. I was running Draco Sack and Big Eye and Master Blades in here, but I don't run Harpie's Pet Dragon. It's a really bad card, so that's it. And actually, I'll talk about why I dislike Harpie's Pet Dragon so much, but let's get into the side deck. As for the side deck, to be honest with you guys, it's up to you to decide what you would take out for the side deck. I really shouldn't even be showing you guys the side deck because it more often than not won't even relate to you, but it's really up to you. I personally would not take anybody's side deck advice because they don't play at my local level, but hey, it is what it is. 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon. To be honest, I really could have had slots for anything else. Mystical Space Typhoon just seemed like the most obvious spot when I need extra destruction. I'll probably take it out for something better when I figure them out. 2 Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. I normally just side this for BA. I really don't side it for anything else other than BA. And BA does, kind of bring a problem there. 3 copies of Imperial Iron Wall. Now, this is for Ritual Beast, Necros, just so much stuff. Keep in mind that I already have like outs 2 Necros inside of Anti-Spell Fragrance, provided that I rip it. Non-fusion area, Shadows is your toughest matchup, period, because they thrive off of your Exceed summons, and non-fusion area is there. Also, these 6 cards just so happen to translate to Ritual Beasts, which have been gaining quite a few popularity, so it is what it is. This card is, people still don't ever catch on to this, even the Satellar Knight players. This is an auto win against Satellar Knight players, especially if they don't play Zen mains in their extra deck, which, I mean, I wouldn't really say, Satellar Knight players have a reason to play Zen mains in their extra deck because they don't see this card. Ultimate good card. I've actually sided against Burning Abyss too, and it works really well because they can't make Dante. Yes, they can make Virgil, but we can deal with Virgil. But Dante kind of prevents them from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Just a little bit. And then 2 copies of Chaos Trap Hole for Dante, Denko Sekka, Virgil. I realized that most light and dark monsters are really good against this deck. So yeah, there's your Chaos Trap Hole. I wanted to side Dark Samorgs, but I just really decided against it. That's pretty much it for the extra deck, or the side deck. But I guess we could talk about Harpie's Pet Dragon for a second. Harpie's Pet Dragon was just so bad. I mean, I never needed it. I never needed to make a Draco sack. I never needed to steal my opponent's monster with a big eye. It clogged my hand. I just did not need it, and I felt that the rate 4 plays that this deck was mixed superior. I think somebody did post out on my Harpie duel that, you know, I didn't need it, and I figured out for myself that you do not need Harpie's Pet Dragon. It's pretty bad. And Blackwing Zephyros, the only thing it did itself was sit in my hand, and it was just literally nothing there. Granted, I did like brickhand the whole tournament, but I mean, on top of that, I expect my cards to be able to contribute at any given sense. So if you play cards that only contribute to the deck or the deck's power, the deck strategy, and you should be fine. Harpie's Pet Dragon or Blackwing Zephyros didn't really contribute that much. Those Zephyros did make some pretty cute plays sometimes. I didn't felt that it warrant being played. I guess the biggest combos or the best combos, if we are going to go into combos, is Anti-Spell Fragrance, Hysteric Sign, Harpie's Hunting Ground. If you draw these 4 cards, I know it's kind of a stretch. It's not that hard to get into it, and obviously you need Harpie Channeler to pitch something. But if you draw these 4 cards, your opponent, I mean, they have to scoop it up. So what you would do is that you normal summon Harpie Channeler and activate its effect, Pitching Dancer. Dancer's effect will special summon Hysteric Harpie Harpist. And then you Exceed summon into Karen Gorgon, because Karen Gorgon's just too sexy for anybody's shirt. Next, you set well, actually, they know you're playing Harpie, so you can activate the Hunting Ground, you can set the Hunting Ground. I probably would set the Hunting Ground just because, you know, they could think it's a Gear Town or something. I don't freaking know. And then you activate the Hysteric Sign, which is also going to fetch you the Egotist, which you're going to set after you set the Spell Fragrance. Now, on your opponent's draw phase, you flip up that Spell Fragrance. This Spell Fragrance basically says your opponent can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! And the Karen Gorgon says it even worse. When they try to MST you, you activate the Karen Gorgon to detach the Harpist, and then you target the Hysteric Sign. So, yeah, their MST just became, no, you just destroyed Hysteric Sign, and you're going to get 4-card advantage off of that, which will more than likely be in the form of the Harpist for the Hysteric Sign, the Harpist, the Channeler, the Queen, and the Dancer all over again. Which, I mean, that pretty much sets it up. Next turn, you'll be able to just go, you know, flip the Hunting Ground, then be able to take care of all their spells with Dancer, and then Channeler into a Harpist, and it's just do so much damage. It's not even really going to be funny on how much damage you're going to be doing to the opponent. It's really not funny at all. This deck is really good at stuff like that. Other than that, there's really no huge plays. Fill up your graveyard as fast as possible and go for a Hysteric Party. It's pretty much never a dead card. You're pretty much always going to have targets for it too with Harpie Harpist running around. She's more than often than not going to get you a target, or she's going to be a target for a Hysteric Party. If your opponent MSTs you and you have like a dead Maxi going against a player that's, you know, doesn't really need to work against Maxi, you activate Hysteric Party and pitch the Maxi and special summon Harpist, and you get a free search, so it's not that bad. The deck is just really, really, really anti-meta. And you guys should already know with the hats. Your hat's target should be Hysteric Sign. Always one Hysteric Sign. If you're not using Hysteric Sign, I don't know what to tell you. Breakthrough Skill or the Elegant Egotist. Those should always be your targets for magical hats. If your opponent is practically immune to, you know, if they don't run any spells in their deck, then you could use the Fragrance. It doesn't really matter. That's pretty much it for the deck profile. Thank you guys for watching so much for Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy.